Welcome to SwamiLee's Sports Talk here at SwamiLee's Sports Cars and Collectibles. We're at 2673 Haddonfield Road in Pennsauken, New Jersey. SwamiLeeCards.com. I'm Swami Lee.
I'm Mike.
And we're here to talk about something happening in the world of sports today or yesterday, perhaps. In our new format, of course, we have only one topic for the entire show. So, Mike, what you got for me today?
Well, we will be talking at some length about your Pittsburgh Steelers. So before we go there, why don't you tell us whose jersey you're wearing today?
Oh, Greg Avoid Lloyd, one of the best at his position of his era. Greg Lloyd was the man, and he's sorely missed.
Okay, well,
where's your Steelers jersey?
Well, I don't have a Steelers jersey.
Sorry to hear that.
Never have, probably never will, unless somebody decides to make it a Hanukkah gift or a birthday gift or a Christmas gift or a Kwanzaa gift. But I do have a Philadelphia Flyers, Philadelphia Tea Party shirt. The Swami's not a hockey guy, and let's face it, I love the Flyers, but they're not worth talking about today. So I'm hearkening back to a better era. You may remember that in the second round of the 2010 playoffs, the Flyers fell behind those Bruins 3-0. They stormed back to win 3 games in a row, and then in Game 7, they fell behind 3-0 in about the first 16 minutes of play. Well, Peter Laviolette, coach at the time, called a timeout, got the wheels back on that bus, and before you knew it, within 2 hours, the Flyers won Game 7, completing a very rare comeback from 3 games to none in a best-of-7 series. But anyway.
Personally, I'm more of a Cleveland Barons fan, so I didn't follow that. But
well,
anyway, back to the story. So what you got today?
Well, let's talk about your Steelers of today, and why they will or will not make the Super Bowl. And I know that you've said it all comes down to whether they play the Patriots in the playoffs or not, but I think it's a little bit more complicated than that.
I do not, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
First of all, they're probably going to win 12 games this year, which is going to win the division. Well, they won the division today as long as they show up to the games the rest of the season. That's how bad that division is. Unless the team totally falls apart, Roethlisberger breaks a leg, Le'Veon Bell gets his head cut off, and the Antonio Brown, breaks his clavicle. I mean, that's probably what it's going to take for them not to win the division. The likelihood is they're going to be the number 2 seed. The Patriots will probably go 13-3. Steelers will go 12-2.
Or 12-4.
Good point. Jack Hambert and Jack Lamb. Anyway, so Steelers are 12-4. They're going to have a bye. Steelers are then going to play the number 3 seed, most likely. The 3 seed right now, probably. Well, let's see. I don't fear anybody in the NFC South.
Or the AFC South.
I'm having a really good day here, aren't I? Okay.
And for what it's worth, I believe the number 3 seed, if the regular season ended today, would be a team that your Steelers just roasted 2 weeks ago, those Tennessee Titans.
That's what I was thinking, actually. The Chiefs are going to probably win the AFC West. So the Chiefs the Chiefs will probably be the 3 seed. The Titans will probably be the 4 seed, assuming that things stay the way they are. And then you have the wild card teams. So I'm looking Steelers, Chiefs. Hey, if I'm in a playoffs game, let me tell you something. There is no head coach I would rather play against than Andy Reid if I am in the playoffs, okay? Let me tell you something. I understand. The guy's won a lot of games in the regular season. And hey, the guy's even gotten to the championship game 4 times in the NFC when he was with the Eagles. But my God, his clock management skills are so freaking horrible. How does a guy win as many games as he wins and then totally blow it in the playoffs? What happened to the 2-minute drill in that Super Bowl? You've got 2 minutes left. You're losing by a touchdown. A touchdown or 4 points, just like that? It was a close game.
At that point, they were down by 10.
You got 2 minutes left. Go into the 2-minute stinking drill. Now, granted, he probably doesn't have any timeouts left because he uses them in the first 3 minutes of the game. But the bottom line is the Steelers are going to win against Kansas City. That's going to put them in the championship game, very much likely against the Patriots. In New England, most likely. Now, if Tom Brady breaks his leg, I'm going to feel pretty good. But I have no confidence. I'm a fan. I want to see them win. But my confidence level in the Steelers beating the Patriots in New England is slim unless the defensive unit just goes crazy. I mean, TJ Watt looks like he's going to be a beast one day. That could help matters. If that defensive unit gels and really becomes a standout defensive unit in the last 6 games of the season or whatever it might be, there's your small chance.
Well, I see things just a little bit differently.
Okay.
I'd have to say that there's really a very good chance of Pittsburgh representing the AFC in the Super Bowl, even if they have to go through Foxborough. And I'll tell you why.
Tell me why.
For all of his many faults, Le'Veon Bell is a monster when he has that ball. Ben Roethlisberger, even though he's on the downside, boy, I'm doing a great job of selling my point of view, aren't I? Ben Roethlisberger, even though he's on the downside, still, he has big game experience. We know he can come up in big games. And throwing to Antonio Brown, throwing to the up-and-coming Jesse James, throwing to your man Juju.
First NFL player named Juju. Let's not forget that.
Also the first Smith-Schuster in NFL history.
That means nothing. Okay,
Oh.
Juju is the key.
Okay, well, yep. With the offensive weapons they have, they can keep up with any team in the AFC, including the Tom Brady-led Patriots.
So assuming the defense plays to another level, they could potentially win.
The defense will continue to grow, will continue to improve. And you know what? When the Steelers go, if those Steelers go into Foxborough for the AFC Championship game, they will be the hot hand, and that will carry them to the Super Bowl.
Let's hope you're right. Let's take a quick break to a sponsor, and we'll be back with you shortly.
Hello, I'm Dickie Knowles, 1980 Philadelphia Phillies pitcher. That was the year we won the World Series, our very first in our history. And when I'm in South Jersey, I love stopping at SwamiLee's for the best card selection in the Delaware Valley area.
And we're back with SwamiLee's Sports Talk here at SwamiLee's Sports Cards and Collectibles, 2673 Haddonfield Road in Pennsauken, New Jersey. I'm Swami Lee.
I'm Mike.
And you may have noticed we talked about how the Steelers could potentially get the Super Bowl. So I figure, why don't we switch it up a little bit and let's talk about the Eagles getting into the Super Bowl. So what's it going to take for the Eagles to get into the Super Bowl, Mike?
Well, it would be easy to say that if the Eagles keep playing the way they're playing, there's no one in the NFC who's going to beat them. Of course, we thought that in 2002. So I won't go there. But the fact is, we've seen that Doug Peterson is not Andy Reid. He doesn't blow through timeouts too early in halves. He's not too wedded to his way of playing. And of course, we saw that when the Eagles smoked Dallas just a week ago.
In defense of that, I mean, without Ezekiel Elliott, Dallas had no weapons. It was actually a little embarrassing. Watch, I'm embarrassed for Cowboys fans. Cowboys fans out there, I actually am embarrassed for you. I mean, I didn't watch the whole game, but I watched pieces of the game. It was like they had no offense. I mean, they're only missing one player. Now, granted, Alfred Morris is no Ezekiel Elliott, but it was like they had no offense. So let's not get too excited over the win over Dallas. That's all I'm saying.
But don't forget, the Eagles really did next to nothing offensively in the first half.
That's true.
And then we saw some big-time halftime adjustments. The Eagles poured on, 30 unanswered points in the second half?
They smoked them like a blunt. No pun intended.
And on one point, the Swami and I do agree. Dallas fans, I am embarrassed for you. For your love for the star, for your love for the stadium, for the America's team nonsense, for your misguided devotion to Dak, who, while a good quarterback, let's just say that he went 3 rounds after Carson Wentz for a reason, which is that he's not nearly as good as Carson. Okay?
Ouch. He's not wrong, mind you, but nonetheless, it's a little rough. Now, if you watch the broadcast, you'd understand that the reason the Cowboys only lost because of one reason, aside from Ezekiel Elliott. Okay? It was Sean Lee who was the entire Cowboys defense, according to both.
According to Sean Lee. Oh.
Well, no, don't. According to the broadcasters, and according to that no talent Skip Bayless that constantly rambled on and on about, if Sean Lee had been here, blah blah blah. But I will tell you this. I got to tell you one thing real quick.
Please.
As much as I think that Skip Bayless is a no talent, whatever you want to call him, he did one thing I need to tell you about. Okay.
Please.
He wrote a book many years ago, and it referenced the Super Bowl with the Steelers-Cowboys, which was from 1995, I believe, if my memory is correctly. That was the one where the Steelers were coming right down the field. They're down by a touchdown. They're driving right down the field. The momentum is going their way. And then Neil O'Donnell, yes, you heard me, Steeler fans, Neil O'Donnell threw a pass right to Larry Brown of the Cowboys. Okay? And in his book, Skip Bayless made it clear there was not a single Steeler anywhere near Larry Brown. So he paid a pass to Larry Brown, who then got a huge contract from the Raiders. Larry Brown was a mediocre player. He got a huge contract because he had that interception. That was 2 balls Neil O'Donnell threw to Cowboys, and there was no one in the area.
And of course, on a somewhat related vein, those 1995 Cowboys showed us that sometimes the coach really doesn't matter, the same way the 2004 and 2007 Red Sox showed us that sometimes the manager really doesn't matter.
Again, a point for another time. Let's not even get into Terry Francoma right now, please.
But to finish answering your question, what do the Eagles need to do to make it to the Super Bowl? Well, they need I'd say that there are 3 keys more than anything else. And I'm going to avoid saying the obvious things. The 3 non-obvious keys are, 1, Doug Peterson and the offensive and defensive coordinators have to keep mixing it up. No getting locked into 61% of the time passing the way a certain former Eagles coach did, who we discussed earlier. Item 2, on defense, the defensive line really needs to keep getting pressure. And that may seem like an obvious point, but they need to get contributions from everyone, even the Vinny Carries, who, let's face it, haven't done so much yet this year. And item 3, I know this sounds silly, but they really need to keep focusing game by game. Don't look ahead to the more interesting, more important matchups against the Rams, for instance, or against the Cowboys for the final week of the season. They need to stay focused on the Bears, and then on Christmas they need to focus on the Raiders, and on the 17th they need to focus on those Giants. Keep focusing week by week, keep doing what's worked, and odds are these Eagles will make it to the Super Bowl.
Well, we'll see. Hopefully we'll have a Steelers-Eagles Super Bowl. That would be a lot of fun to watch. So, real quick, as we wind down our show for the day, what'd you pick out today?
Well, not to be nitpicky, but I don't recall actually picking out this figurine of Mr. Tebow. I believe that was selected for me. It is, as you can see, a Tim Tebow Jets figurine. Let me say that in some ways, Tim Tebow is the opposite of Jim Rice, for instance. A lot of people love him because he's such a nice guy, in spite of his, shall we say, imperfect performance on the field. But you know what? I really think Tim, the quarterback, has not gotten the credit that he deserves. After all, for those 2011 Denver Broncos, it was Tim Tebow who took them to the playoffs and who won them a playoff game.
He threw one lucky pass, okay? And that's all he threw. But you know something? At the end of the day, he got the W, so we're going to give it to him.
I'd hate to be Ike Taylor and be posterized on that play. But this is, if you're interested in figurines, this NFL players, Tim Tebow and the Jets, is a fine product available here at SwamiLee's Sports Cards and Collectibles.
Okay, Mike. Well, I know you remember these. I don't know if you guys remember these. A lot of you aren't old enough. These are Slurpee cups, and these are old school. This is Wampum. Dick Allen. It says Rich Allen here, but his name was Dick Allen. In his book, he said he couldn't figure out why they kept calling him Rich, because his name was Dick. Anyway, we have Lou Piniella as a royal, which means this dates this pre-1974. And we have Maury Wills. I read Maury Wills' book. Poor Maury. He comes home one day and he finds Bump and his wife bumping uglies. Not a good situation. Anyway, on that note, folks, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Swami Lee.
I'm Mike, and I don't think I can beat that note, so this is a fine time for us to say, have a great day.
Good night, all.
Hey, put me in cold.